The Philadelphia Eagles, I don't want to say shocked some people, but they definitely did themselves some favors, just absolutely beaten up on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. And I've been saying it for a while, like this team clearly is a Super Bowl contender, and everybody was, downplaying about the passing game. Oh, they're washed, blah, 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 blah. They played very well. And they really separated themselves into being a team to beat, especially in the NFC. But, I mean, this was just a shellacking. And this was a statement win for the Philadelphia Eagles. And trust me, there are winners and losers of this whole thing, and so we're going to get into it. So, starting off with the winners here, because we are optimistic on this channel. It starts off with Jalen Hurts. A lot of people were really talking about how the offense has struggled, especially in terms of throwing the football, but I got to give it up to Jalen Hurts. He came out and absolutely answered the bell here. And again, I think it does come back to the point that, this offense really is balanced, and I think that bad days can just happen. But, I mean, Jalen Hurts, 25 of 32, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Also had 15 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown went off. We'll get into him in a second. But, I mean, he was confident. He was throwing the ball around, standing in the pocket, extending plays. Jalen Hurts was fantastic. Also, A.J. Brown finished the day 8 for $110 and a touchdown. Again, he was that number one wide receiver. We were waiting for this game. I think there are more big games like this to come, but A.J. Brown did a really good job of getting open and making plays for his team. Devontae Smith is another example, 11 for $109 and a touchdown. Just fantastic. Kellen Moore did a lot of good things in this game in terms of play calling and putting Jalen Hurts and his receivers in a really good spot. Saquon, now, it wasn't the normal Saquon game that we're used to, but 19 for 65. It was a solid Saquon game where you had to keep the defense honest and then be able to throw the football off of that, and that's exactly what the Eagles did. Kenneth Gainwell had 7 carries for 20 yards, but he also had a couple of nice catches. That spin move early in the game, 3 catches for 40 yards too as well. So 60 all-purpose yards for Gainwell. Looked really good as kind of being that spell back for Saquon Barkley. Nolan Smith Jr. had himself a sack, also had that pass batted at the line there, and it has really come on as of late for the Eagles. I think the Eagles have themselves a really good pass rusher that's going to continue to grow in this system. Josh Sweat had a sack, leads the Eagles right now 8 total sacks on the year, and like I said, this pass rush gets after it. And speaking of getting after it, Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond, in the middle of this defense, Nakobe Dean led the team with 10 total tackles. Zach Bond made a couple of nice plays in the open field, had 5 tackles as well. I believe it's the number one defense right now. So, I mean, when you're running the football, you're playing good defense, and you got a quarterback that can definitely distribute. This is going to be a good team. This is a playoff team. This is a playoff run-ready team, and it's going to be tough. Darius Slay had that fumble recovery in the open field there that really got the Eagles to get to a point where they could really start to stack it on against the Steelers. And I think largely the defense as a whole, the defensive line as well, this just played very well on Sunday, and I feel like that deserves a lot of credit. The defense played fantastic, and they found a way to, really keep Russell Wilson out of it and also shut down the running game against the Steelers, who really couldn't get anything going on the run and the run aspect, so that was really good to see. But as far as losers now, so Jalen Hurts, the fumble early on there wasn't great. Not exactly how you want to start the game off. He did bounce back, but especially when you get into the playoffs, you cannot put the ball on the ground. Speaking of putting the ball on the ground, Cooper DeJean had that punt return fumble where it put the Steelers deep in Eagles territory and led to their first field goal, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just, again, you cannot have those mistakes, especially when you get into the playoffs. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got burned on that Pat Freiermuth touchdown. And again, I know that this is really small here. It was really, I would argue, it was one of the only positive plays for the Steelers offense. Defensively, you played fantastic. But again, it comes back to the fact that the other team is professionals too. They're going to get paid to make plays, but you got to be able to make those plays. But overall, hey, Eagles come away with a win. Clearly Super Bowl contenders are really flexing their muscles after a win like this, especially since it was against a quality team. But overall, let us know what you guys think about our Eagles winners and losers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and we'll see you on the next video.